Welcome to Lesson 9.5, Factoring Trinomials. So you're going to hear me say a lot, we're unfoiling, okay? Not a technical term at all, but what we're doing is we are trying to figure out the two binomials that created the trinomial that we're looking at now. And there are reasons for why we would want to factor our trinomial into the two binomials that created it, and we'll learn about how to use that here at the end of this unit. So let's start with our first example. We've got the x squared plus 8x plus 15. If you think about what was happening and what was used to create this trinomial, remember our last terms had to create that 15, and our first terms had to create that x squared, and our outers and inners created the 8x. And remember, we usually add or subtract or combine like terms from our outers and inners to create that middle term in our trinomial. So we want to start thinking about factors of 15, okay, and factors of 15 that will add up to 8x, okay? So factors of 15 are 1 and 15 and 3 and 5, okay? Their sums are 6 or 8. Which do you think created this trinomial? Yep, if you guess, the x plus 3 and the x plus 5 would create the x squared plus 8x plus 15. These take a lot of practice, and if you're really struggling with this, I would say go back and FOIL about another 50 binomial times binomials. You really need to practice this. Lots of practice will get you better at factoring, okay? And this right now, what I'm showing you is kind of like a guess and check method, but it's really an educated guess and check because you know things that created this trinomial. You know that the last terms had to create the 15, the first two terms had to create the x squared, and that somehow the outers and inners, when they're multiplied together and then added, they created that 8x. So it's really an educated guess and check. Let's try another example. So in this one, we've got c squared minus 9c plus 20. Now remember, our outers and inners created that minus 9c. Okay, they created that minus 9c, and since our third term is a positive, we know that we had to multiply a negative times a negative in order to get that plus 20, right? So you want to start thinking about factors of 20. And we've got that negative 1 and negative 20, we've got negative 2 and 10, and then we've got negative 4 and negative 5. So now if you were to add those up, think about what you would get for your middle term. You'd get that negative 21 or the negative 12 or the negative 9. Which of those was used to create this binomial? Okay. And again, it's that guess and check and that educated guess and check. If we think about it, c minus 4 times c minus 5. Notice how our outers are going to create that minus 9, and our inners are going to, our outers and inners are going to create that minus 9c. Our last two terms are going to give us that plus 20, and then our first two terms are going to give us our c squared. Here's another one. And now what happens, and if you think about it, that third term is negative now. So that means one term has to be positive, one term has to be negative. And you can kind of go through all of your factors, or you can start, and I always like to start with my two binomials, and I put my x's in because since that's x squared for our first term, no doubt. And now one's going to be minus and one's going to be plus. So numbers that multiply together that give us 48 and have a difference of 13. Did you guess 16 and 3? Yep, 16 and 3 multiplied together give us that 48, but their difference is 13. Now, do I want the difference to be a positive or a negative? I want it to be a positive. So notice how I put the plus 16 and the minus 3, so that when my outers and inners combine, I get that positive 13x that I'm looking for. Again, this is a glorified guess and check, so you just got to keep practicing. And then on our last one, notice how our third term is still a negative, right? So that tells me that I'm going to have one sign that's plus and one side that's minus. Now, numbers that multiplied together to give me 24. And again, you can write all of these factors out, but sometimes it takes you more time to write them all out than it does to figure out which one's going to work. Okay, so factors that give me negative 24 and have a difference of 5. Okay, so you start going through them, and two numbers that come to mind are 8 and 3. When I multiply them, I get 24, and when I subtract them, I get 5. In this case, I want the difference to be a minus 5, so the 8 is going to be that negative, and then the plus is going to go with the 3. So that my outers and inners combine to make that negative 5n. See what I did there? Again, this is a lot of thinking out loud, glorified guess and check. Practice, practice, practice. In our final example, notice here how we have those two variables, okay? It's nothing different than we've done, except that now our parentheses have two letters in them. My first letter is going to be that D in both of those, okay? And then my last one's going to have a G with it. Now, I go through those same questions. What's my third term? My third term is a minus, right? So that means one of these is going to be plus and one's going to be minus. And then I start asking myself, numbers that multiplied together give me 60 and that have a difference of 17, okay? Think about it. Did you guess 20 and 3? Awesome if you did. So now, again, I want, since my middle term there, my second term is plus, that means the plus and the 20 is going to go with there. And then the minus 3g there. So that my outers make positive 20 dg, and my inners make a minus 3dg, so that when they combine, they give me that 17 dg that's positive, and then again, when they're multiplied, they give me that negative 60g squared. Again, we're going to be practicing a lot of these in class, so please ask questions. Hopefully, the great thing is you can always foil them back and see if you did it right. So you can always check your work with this. We just have to get practice doing them and getting them done quickly and efficiently.